Yeah, it's. I mean, yeah, obviously.
What's your take on a gold bracelet?
I don't want to talk about it. I think they suck. I basically just think if you win a gold bracelet, it means you won a tournament, clearly. And so, if you win a tournament, you shouldn't actually be proud of winning a tournament because it doesn't actually take any skill. So, I feel like you're just getting accolades for no real reason. Like, you should get a gold bracelet for winning like $100K in a month at 2-4 or something like that. Or you should shut up. Or you should get like a gold bracelet for winning $250,000 off a take chip or somebody, or Escobar or whatever. And those are gold bracelet worthy.
Anything cool that you do.
To me, hey, we have a friend that's gonna join us.
Oh shit.
And this is my friend Matt Probability. High five, Matt Young. Matt Young, you might have seen him around the forums every once in a while. Probability is everywhere, obviously. Yeah, we were just finishing up an interview about second place finish at 5K 6 max. You weren't able to beat it. It's too bad. But yeah.
Ooh. No shit.
Surprise! Matt just found out that he got second in the 5K 6 max.
So close to the gold, man.
Balling.
Anyways, yeah. So we are really. It's not too exciting after that, I guess. The end of the story is that we get in with Ace Jack, Ace King.
Well, the end of the story is we go out that night, and
yeah, let's talk a little bit about the after party.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, that's what people want to hear, don't they?
The quick story about the after party. If you've made it this far in this interview, you get to hear the after party story. That's like your reward. The after party story is, I actually have a voicemail. I wish I could, if I can get it on the computer somehow, it'd be really funny. We have 2 or 3 voicemails. The after party story is that Steve, who is Zugwat, obviously, he's been away from his well for a while, if you've noticed. Mostly because I think he just killed a bunch of brain cells in this particular night we're talking about. So what happened is basically we go to the club, and it's his turn to get the table, so he gets a table, and we get this table at Pure, we get, 3 or 4 bottles. He orders a bottle of Patron, even though everyone tells him not to order a bottle of Patron.
Putting him in control of ordering the alcohol.
Was a terrible idea.
Alcohol he had already drank was pretty
See,
bad.
Steve's got this thing where he tries to drink 10 shots and then not drink at the club. And obviously, I think it's a terrible idea. But he tries to drink 10 shots and then not drink at the club because he says 10 shots is the perfect amount. Instead of drinking 3 or 4 shots, drinking those at the club, he just can't space it out. He has to limit himself.
Last night he nailed it. Didn't drink either.
Yeah, he nailed it pretty good last night. Anyways, so he drinks 10 shots and then he gets to the club and he's dancing with this girl. And he's giving her alcohol, so obviously has to drink it himself.
Is the correct term.
Trying to basically harass this girl. I don't really want to say it like that, but it's actually pretty accurate. The problem is he's just way too fucking drunk. That was the problem.
He's not really at fault for any of it, as far as I'm concerned. But.
Right, obviously. So he leaves the club. We can't find him. He sends me a text. It says BQW space JWQXRUIRY or whatever. Okay, so it doesn't actually say anything of substance. He tries calling me, I don't hear anything, I can't hear shit that he's saying. So finally, we leave the club, and we're just okay, he's a responsible, 21-year-old, and he's going to figure out his way home. So we leave the club or whatever, and at 4-ish, we're all on the way out, and you were starting to get a call.
Starker gets a call, and it's some random girl on his phone that's hey, your friend is passed out. I'm like, oh yeah, where? And she's like, the elevator at Bailey's.
Even better, he's riding a street elevator up and down in a pile of his own puke.
Although
that's our new prep.
I'm not quite sure how that can be.
I just told him he didn't have much puke on him. He had a little trace of puke on his shoes, and that was it.
But we saw the Spanish cleaning lady cleaning up the remnants of the puke.
So maybe she cleaned him off in the process.
I'm not really sure.
Anything really is possible. Anyway, so then he wakes up the next morning. He calls me at 11:30. I'm like, what's up? I'm still sleeping, obviously. It's 11:30 only. So he says, hey, where am I? And I say, why the fuck do I know where you are? I'm back at the house. He's like, no, where am I? I'm
well,
what are you talking
the girls had told us on the phone that the cops were coming. So I was pretty sure he was just in jail. Rich can let him handle that at some point.
Right, he would have figured it out. Yeah. He's on big enough of a heater, right? So anyways, he is okay, I'm gonna ask some people where I am. So he asked 5 or 6 people that are passing by, and they're like, oh, you're at Wild Bill's Gambling Saloon. which he still calls Wild Bill's Gambling Salon. He just will not call it Wild Bill's Gambling Saloon for some reason. And so, yeah, he ended up there. Someone bought him a room, left a note in his wallet with their email address, and it said, "You were passed the fuck out," or something like that. And it said it left like an email address. So he emails this guy a few days later, and the guy says, "Hey, I bought you a room, but don't worry about it because I won a bunch of money in Vegas."
Oh yeah.
Like how good does Steve run? Like he actually had a guy buy him a run.
I mean, he runs better that he did not get arrested somehow.
Yeah, the story with the voicemails is that there was one to me and one to my buddy's brother actually, like random people, and he just it says
not
like
him talking.
they're not him talking. He doesn't know that he called us.
Yeah, it's just him talking to a cop, where the cop is basically like, "You're getting arrested for whatever reason. You reached into my car. You don't know how old you are." And Steve is just defending himself the entire time, like, "No, I'm fine. Don't worry."
Yo, he keeps saying, honestly, I'm fine. Honestly, I'm fine. But honestly, I'm fine.
I don't see what the problem is here.
Honestly, I'm fine. Honestly. He just keeps saying, that's like repeated over and over. The guy keeps saying, "We're taking you to drunk tank." He just keeps saying no. And it's just really funny. Anyway, so he doesn't have an ID or his credit card. And so that's just how the night ends. And he just has no idea where those two things are. So, but it was a pretty successful night, I'd say. If it was only for the fact that we got that story out of it and we suck out on the guy's aces with 9-10 suited. Alright, so yeah, I mean, we had a long strategy discussion about 9-10 suited. We'll talk about it later. So anyways, yeah, this is Aaron, Matt, and Andrew for LeggoPoker.com signing out on the interview.